I have got a big library haul for you today. A little bit of everything, a lot of stuff I'm super excited about. I have one romance, which I know it's unusual for me, but romance is not the main theme of it, and it's more like about female friendship, so I think I'll enjoy it, but we'll see. I have some sci-fi with time travel. I have tons of suspense, thrillers, mysteries. This is a good stack. If I don't really find some jewels in here, I will be shocked. So hopefully you will find some things that sound good to you as well. Okay, first up is The Autumn of Ruth Winters by Marshall Fine. This one, I browsed at the library today in the new book section, 14-day books, and found this, and I thought it sounded good. In this heartwarming story about second acts and second chances, a no-nonsense retiree, very much set in her ways, must learn to adapt and make peace with her past in order to build a fulfilling future. Ruth Winters is retired, widowed, and resigned to spend the rest of her life alone in her suburban home. She likes her routine and uses it to avoid having to spend time with other people. She probably wouldn't call herself fulfilled, but it's too late now to go chasing happiness. Then three things happen at once. A beloved niece makes a big announcement, an old flame reaches out, and her estranged sister receives life-changing news. Ruth finds herself reconnecting with people she thought were long gone from her world as she is forced to reconsider her expectations for this phase of her life. None of this fits into Ruth's routine. In fact, the whole thing just blows to bits. But when Ruth starts to pick up the pieces, she discovers that maybe it's not too late to make something new after all. So I thought that sounded like a good read. And then we have All the Dark Places by Terry Parlato. I read her book Watch Your Back and really enjoyed it, so I thought I would try this one. Snow falls softly outside Molly Bradley's home on a frigid January night. Inside, half a dozen close friends are gathered to celebrate the 40th birthday of Molly's psychologist husband, Jay. Candlelight gleams against dark wood. Wine flows and the house rings with laughter. Everybody loves Jay, Molly most of all. Yet, next morning, Molly discovers Jay dead on the floor of his office, his throat brutally slashed. After decades working with the Boston PD, Detective Rita Myers has grown accustomed to the banality of evil, the unalivings that make no sense beyond bad luck or a tragic brush with the worst of humanity. But Jay Bradley's unaliving isn't random or a mere crime of opportunity. Rita is convinced that someone in the couple's small circle unalived him, someone who was celebrating with them that night. So that sounds very good. And since I already liked one of her books, I want to try another one. Then this is another one I picked up while browsing that is a new book. I Did Something Bad by Pei Mo Thet War. How's that for a last name? Pei Mo Thet War. Okay. When freelance journalist Kian Hamar is assigned by Vogue to get a scoop on Tyler Tunn, Hollywood's hottest movie star, she's determined to succeed. Tyler has returned home to Myanmar to shoot his latest film, and if Kin's able to get an exclusive, there may well be a permanent position waiting for her at Vogue Singapore. Tyler has a very private life and doesn't show any sign of letting down his walls for Kin. But then one night on set, a man follows Kin into the park. When he threatens her, Tyler steps in, and things escalate fast. As Kin and Tyler work together to hide their secret and find out more about her attacker, Tyler finally starts opening up. As their connection grows, the idea of writing the article makes Kin uncomfortable. Will they get away with unaliving? Can Kin get the expose she needs for her dream job? And is she willing to risk Tyler's trust in the process? So I thought that sounded very good. Then this one is a little bit sci-fi and a little bit odd. So I thought I would try it and see. It's called Blood Test, a comedy. Charles Baxter. In this fresh take on love and trouble in America, Brock Hobson, an insurance salesman and Sunday school teacher, and a hilariously relatable protagonist, submits to a predictive blood test. Charles Baxter, a master storyteller, brings us a roller coaster of a narrative about the results. It says up here at the top of the blurb about a divorced Midwestern dad who takes a cutting-edge medical test and learns that he has a predisposition to unaliving. I was like, the idea that, imagine if somebody told you, based on a blood test, that you're likely to go, that's just funny to me. Like, and since it says it's funny, I think it's going to be quite hilarious. The final battle, no spoilers, but there is one, couldn't be more delightful, as this bracing novel reminds us to choose the best people to love, except the ones we love, even if we didn't choose them, and love them all well. I think this has the potential to be a lot of fun. It certainly is unique, and sometimes, like, I just want something very unique and far out there. I've never read anything quite like that, so we'll see whether it's any good or not. Now, this is my sci-fi, The Mulligan Curse by Diane Barnes. I love the cover where she's, like, hanging on to the clock. See, this is one of those time travel things that I have discovered that I love sci-fi that is time travel. If you had a second chance, what would you do differently? I know what I would do differently. How about you? I bet we all have some things we would do differently if we had a second chance. Mary Mulligan has two problems: her wisdom teeth and everything else. Her only daughter is moving overseas. Her husband would rather go golfing than spend time with her, and Mary's left to wonder why she abandoned her career ambitions when loneliness is all she has to show for it. Plus, her teeth really, really hurt. But that's one problem she can fix. Never mind the stories that say if she gets her wisdom teeth removed, the last 30 years of her life will be erased. In fact, Mary wouldn't mind if the Mulligan curse were actually true. Turns out it is. The world around her hasn't changed, but Mary is suddenly 24 again, with the life she once dreamed of still ahead of her. As she embarks on this new beginning, Mary comes to realize that those dreams aren't nearly as important as everything she once had, if only she knew how to get it all back. So, I don't know. I've read a couple time travel novels that I've really enjoyed. It's just kind of fun. I like sometimes something that's kind of far out there and impossible, Then this one, you remember I did a video on the Inheritance games this weekend. So this is the follow-up, the next one in the series, in the Hawthorne Legacy series. A Deadly Game, A Puzzle to Solve, A Fortunate Stake by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So that's the next one in that series. Then I Dreamed of Falling by Julia Dahl. Roman Grady is the sole reporter for the local newspaper in a tiny town north of New York City. A town so small that every store opening and DUI is considered newsworthy. But when Roman's longtime girlfriend Ashley, the mother of his 4-year-old son, is found dead, he realizes he has no idea what was really going on in her life. And when he starts asking questions, he's not prepared for the answers. What was Ashley doing at the cliffside home of her troubled ex-girlfriend? How did no one in a house full of people see what happened to her? And why does it seem like everyone in town suddenly has something to hide? I love those kinds of stories where it's like everybody's got something to hide and you're trying to figure out who did it. I love it. As Roman and his mother dig into Ashley's last few months, the truths they uncover threaten to expose painful secrets, the kind of secrets that can get you unalived. A gripping thriller and a moving portrait of a family struggling through tragedy. I Dreamed of Falling showcases Julia Dahl's talent for using crime fiction to tell an immersive and unforgettable story. That sounds very good. And I've been anxiously waiting for this. I've been on the wait list for a while for this book. I hope it's as good as it sounds. Keep Your Friends Close. You Deserve to Know by Aggie Blum Thompson. It looks like another one of those, like suburban thrillers, neighborhood thrillers. I love those kind. Perfect friends, perfect lies. Neighbors Gwen, Amy, and Lisa share more than play dates and coffee mornings on their tranquil street in East Bethesda. They confide their deepest secrets, navigate the challenges of motherhood together, and provide a support system that seems unbreakable. But when Gwen's husband is found unalived after one of their weekly dinners, the peaceful quiet of their cul-de-sac shatters. The seemingly idyllic world of the three close-knit mom friends becomes a web of deception, betrayal, and revenge. I love those kind. They're usually very juicy. As the police investigate, the veneer of friendship begins to crack, revealing hidden tensions, clandestine affairs, and long-buried jealousies among the three women. With suspicions mounting and the neighborhood gripped by fear, Gwen, Amy, and Lisa must confront the chilling truth about their husbands and the sinister undercurrents in their own friendship. Doesn't that sound good? Then this is the one that is labeled by my library as a romance, but I think it is more so going to feature the female friendship, so that's why I wanted it. Plus, I do love the cover. The Summer of Yes. It looks like a fun read. This wasn't how Kelsey Worthington's day was supposed to go. She wasn't supposed to be picking up Starbucks for her smarmy boss. She wasn't supposed to get hit by a car that jumped the curb. And she certainly wasn't supposed to wake up in a hospital room next to Georgina Tate, the legendary matriarch of New York City businesswomen. Kelsey and Georgina couldn't be more opposite. Kelsey's a dreamer, a writer who questions her own skill, and Georgina is a confident businesswoman whose years of shouldering her way into boardrooms and making her voice heard have made her far too outspoken for the faint of heart. But now, when Georgina's failing kidneys force her to face some big regrets about the way she's lived her life, the two women recognize they share a common thread. Maybe it's time to confront a few things. They must ask themselves, what if I said yes to everything I've always said no to? With Georgina as her companion, Kelsey soon finds herself doing things she's never done before, eating street food, swimming in the ocean, matchmaking for Georgina with the help of Georgina's handsome son, and writing her own romance, both in book form and in real life. So begins the Summer of Yes. So I think that sounds like a lot of fun. I love female friendship stories, especially like when there's an older female and a younger female. Like I think those types of friendships are a lot of fun. I think the young can always learn a lot from those that are older than they are. I personally have had friends a lot older than me and a lot younger than me. I just enjoy female friendships. I think you can really learn a lot that way, and it's a lot of fun. Once more from the top, this is another one I picked up off the new 14-day shelf by Emily Layden. Everyone in America knows Dylan Reed, or at least has heard her music. Since releasing her debut album, her senior year of high school, Dylan spent 15 years growing up in the public eye. She's not only perfected her skills when it comes to lyrics and melody, she's also learned how to craft a public narrative that satisfies her fans, her label, and the media. In the circles of fame and celebrity in which she now travels, the careful maintenance of Dylan Reed pop star is often more important than the songs themselves. And so lots of people think they understand everything about Dylan Reed, but what no one knows is the part of her origin story she has successfully kept hidden. Her childhood best friend Kelsey vanished the year before Dylan became famous. Now, as Dylan's at the height of her career, Kelsey's body is found at the bottom of their hometown lake, forcing Dylan to reckon with their shared past, her friends' influence on her music, and whether there's more to their story than meets the eye. So, I thought that sounded good. And then, lastly, you remember I told you I loved the new Gillian McAllister book, Famous Last Words, so much that I picked up all the ones that my library had of her backlist. These are not all of her backlist, but that's all my library had. Would You Make the Right One? The Choice. It's the end of a night out, and Joanna is walking home alone. Then she hears the sound every woman dreads. Footsteps behind her, getting faster. She's sure it's him, the man from the bar who wouldn't leave her alone. So Joanna makes a snap decision. She turns, she pushes. Her pursuer tumbles down the steps and lies motionless, face down on the ground. Now what? Addictive and compelling. The choice follows the two paths Joanna's future might take depending on the choice she makes. Oh, this sounds so good. And it reminds me of that book. I have it listed in one of my top 10 videos. If I remember, I'll link it below in this video. The narrative of the storyline is like where the sister had two choices she could make to either go pick her sister up or not go pick her sister up, and what happened and how drastically it changed their lives based on that decision. I love that kind of a storyline because that really is how life goes a lot of times, you know, like a choice you make could have life-altering consequences. And it's just fun to read a storyline like that, I think. If she calls the police right away, she can save the man's life. Yet doing so puts her own innocence at risk as she waits for judgment on a charge of assault and the hope that her husband and everyone she loves will stand by her. But if she runs and goes home as if nothing has happened, no one will ever know. No one saw her do it, and it's only up to Joanne to keep quiet forever. That sounds really interesting. And then, I'm sure everybody's heard of this. I heard of it, of course, but I don't know. At the time, I thought it didn't sound that interesting. But now that I have read two of her books that I really loved, I'm willing to give it a try. So we'll see. Maybe I still won't like it, but because I know when I read the plot originally, I wasn't too impressed, but we'll see. Can you stop an unaliving after it's already happened? Late October, after midnight, you're waiting up for your 17-year-old son. He's past curfew. As you watch from the window, he emerges, and you realize he isn't alone. He's walking toward a man, and he's armed. You can't believe it when you see him do it. Your funny, happy teenage son unalives a stranger right there on the street outside your house. You don't know who. You don't know why. You only know your son is now in custody, his future shattered. That night you fall asleep in despair. All is lost until you wake and it is yesterday. And then you wake again and it is the day before yesterday. Every morning you wake up a day earlier. Another day before the unaliving, with another chance to stop it. Somewhere in the past lies an answer, the trigger for this crime, and you don't have a choice but to find it. And I don't know why I didn't think that sounded interesting, because it kind of does sound interesting. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm definitely willing to give it a try. And then the last one, Just Another Missing Person. There's a man out there. His weapon isn't a gun or a knife. It's a secret. Olivia, 22 years old. No history of running away. Last seen on CCTV entering a dead-end alley and not coming back out again. Missing for 1 day and counting. Julia, the detective heading up the case. She knows what to expect. A desperate family, a ticking clock, and long hours away from her daughter. But Julia has no idea how close to home this case is going to get, because her family's safety depends on one thing. Julia must not find out what happened to Olivia and must frame somebody else for her unaliving. What would you do? There you have it. I have a giant stack of books to read. I'm super excited to dive into it. Sorry, the star of the show is not here today. Well, she is here, but not here. She's not in the room with me. She's over in the other bedroom sleeping. I'm not sure why. Probably, maybe she's a little bit mad that I was in town all morning. And yeah, I don't think she appreciated me being gone that long. So, but never fear. I'm sure Saturday when I do my wrap up, she will be back there in her usual spot. So, alrighty. I will see you all next time. Don't forget to help me out and click that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Bye.